Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Anti.Prophet. I'm a content creator who scaled to over $1 million in revenue, 2.4 million followers, all by using propaganda and psychological manipulation. And now I'm showing you how to do the same for your business so that you can make it rain. And today's topic is how to use natural disasters to grow your brand. So something that's really popping off on social media right now are the floods down in Texas. And a lot of different people are using this in order to make a lot of money based on the amount of eyeballs that they're getting on videos, brand deals, political power, you name it. So we're going to study some of the techniques that people are using around this tragedy in order to make bank. Now, this video is from a content creator by the name of Jeffrey Meads, and he's reacting to a video that he is unimpressed with. So we'll take a look at the first part of the video, and then we'll go from there. Take a listen.
I know I'm probably going to get canceled for this, but Camp Mystic is a whites-only girls Christian camp. They don't even have a token Asian. They don't have a token black person. It is a all-white, white-only, conservative Christian camp. If you ain't white, you ain't right, you ain't getting in, you ain't going, period. And I think that context needs to be said in this matter.
Okay, so Camp Mystic is the camp that was washed away and ended up killing, I think, over 20 children. So this is what this particular content creator in the video that he's reacting to is talking about. And before we go on to Jeffrey's actual video proper, let's quickly cover this video by this lady by itself, because the lady in the video is black, and she's insinuating that Camp Mystic doesn't deserve sympathy because there are no black kids on the website. Now, this lady knows her audience. She knows that if she were to simply make a video about the facts surrounding Camp Mystic, how many people were lost, what time the water hit the building, all that stuff, she wouldn't get views simply by talking about what happened. So as a result of that, she decided to reframe the story in order to appeal to her audience. Now, the point that she's making isn't even one that's all that strong, right? She's just saying, oh, there aren't black kids on this website, which means that black kids weren't allowed to go to this camp, which means that we shouldn't feel bad for anyone involved in this strategy. But it doesn't matter that it's not a very strong point. You can cater to your audience with anything as long as it simply confirms their pre-existing beliefs. So again, before we get into Jeffrey's video, there's a lesson. Even here, when a tragedy happens on the news towards a race that your customer dislikes, how can you reframe it as a win in order to cater to the worst elements of your customer's psychology in a way that allows them to feel like you see and accept the rage that they have inside of their psyche? This will strengthen your bond with them and makes them even more willing to buy from you in the future.
No, it doesn't. This is a perfect example of some of the people in our society who obsess over race. They make everything about race. Girls are dying and washed up in a flood, and her first thought is, what's like the racial demographic of the people who are missing in this camp? It's pathetic.
Okay, so now let's turn to the actual creator in question here. If you are black and you want to sell to conservative evangelical Christians, there is no more profitable marketing campaign than to position yourself as an Uncle Tom. And I don't even say that as a level of disrespect to Jeffrey. Like, I respect the hustle that he has going on here, because in reality, it would be much harder for him to get views online consistently doing what the other black lady at the beginning of this video was doing. See, the archetype that he's chosen to take up here is the archetype of that one good black guy. And if you've ever had a racist grandparent or parent, you know exactly what I'm talking about here, right? This racist grandparent generally hates black people, but the moment they meet a black person who parrots their talking points back to them, that black person becomes one of the good ones in the eyes of your grandparent. And this type of angle to be taking on social media is powerful because, again, not many people are willing to adopt this role, which means that it's kind of a blue ocean. Now, what is a blue ocean? A blue ocean comes from a book called Blue Ocean Strategy, which is essentially where most of the time people who want to do business, whether it's online or in person, doesn't matter. They see a bunch of people getting results in a sector of the market, and they think to themselves, wow, I should go over there and start a business because there's obviously so much demand over there. But the problem is, once they get over there, they're competing with people who have been in that sector of the market for, a year, few months at the very least. And that is hard to compete with because those big players already have established customer bases. They already have everything kind of on lockdown. So coming in as a small fish into that ocean makes it kind of a red ocean, right? Because the big fish that you're fighting against are really sharks and they're eating all of the smaller fish. And all of a sudden it turns into a red ocean because of all the blood that's in the water. The idea with a blue ocean is to find a sector of the market that currently doesn't have a lot of competition. And you do that by not simply finding something that no one is interested in and being like, okay, you know what, I'm going to sell this because obviously you need customers. People need to be interested in what it is that you do. No. What you do is you take one thing that is trending, maybe from over in this sector that you wanted to compete with in the first place, and you combine it with something else that makes you unique and interesting. A good example of this is, many people want to become travel content creators. And unfortunately, that niche is really, really full to the brim with people who have been doing this for about 10 years now. But what if, instead of just becoming a travel content creator like the rest of everyone else, why not take travel and combine it with another passion that you have in the world? Maybe that's Pokemon. Maybe you become the guy who travels to Pokemon conventions and creates a travel channel around that. All of a sudden, you are in a blue ocean. This is what Jeffrey has done here. He's taken a number of things that are interesting, that already exist in the cultural zeitgeist, and he puts them together in order to create a blue ocean for himself. So the lesson here is, how can you use your race, your gender, literally anything in order to help you find your blue ocean? This is something that the left has done for a while now. And the right, with people like Candace Owens, with this guy, are figuring out how to do it themselves in order to carve out their little corner of the market that they can exploit and sell to over and over and over again. How can you do this as well?
People like this are the people who work and keep racial issues alive. She talks as if this camp only allows white girls, with no proof other than simply pictures. What if it's just simply white people primarily have been the ones that decide to go there?
So now, from here, we see him building up his credibility with his audience. He's calling out someone from his side of the aisle. He's calling out this black creator. And in the minds of the people who watch this video, this increases his credibility, because people who call out their own are perceived as more morally just. As speaking with conviction against those in your community means that you deeply believe in what it is that you're saying and what it is that you do. Like, if this were to play out on the African savannah or up in Asia or in the middle of North America, let's say 2,000 years ago, if we saw someone walk over from a different tribe and be like, hey, look, my tribe is being shitty, here's why, we would view that and be like, damn, this guy really believes what he's saying, because if his tribe hears that, they're gonna abandon him and kill him. That's insane. And again, our reptile brain watches content on this little device of ours, and it feels like we see Jeffrey walking over to us and we're like, holy shit, he's talking against his tribe. But again, we all know this isn't the case at this point. Jeffrey isn't actually in the room here with us right now. Now, that's the first point. The second point here is that we have to consider the fact that Jeffrey is choosing a persona that he is playing on camera. The way he speaks, the way that he's presenting himself, all of these different things. And before you accuse me of being racist, all I'm talking about here is that when it comes to content creation, there is such a thing as a stage persona versus how you are in regular everyday life. Every content creator has this. I have this. Now, his persona is to speak with clear vernacular. If he would have watched the video of the lady from the beginning and started off by saying, damn, nigga, this bitch crazy, would he appeal to the audience that he's already built up for himself? The people who like to watch him say, oh, hey, this is why black people in America are actually the ones stoking real racism. Would that hood vernacular appeal to that audience? Probably not. Now, there are two lessons here. Number one, how can you hack the reptile mind of your customer by saying things that seem virtuous for the purpose of your customer to trust you more in order to buy more products from you? And number two, how can you add things to your on-screen character that will appeal to the customers you're trying to reach?
Again, girls are dying. They've been swept up in a flood. And she's thinking, well, the people behind this, there's a lot of white people there. I'm not seeing much color, so they must be racist. And we need to know the context behind that. Be quiet. No, we don't need your context through your biased racial lens. We don't need that. And we don't want to hear it. These are the type of people who are obsessed with finding racial issues.
Okay, so now something really interesting is happening here, because we see him projecting exactly what his business model is onto this lady. Because the truth is, he's built up an entire brand around obsessing on finding racial issues on social media. Now, as a marketer, you might watch this and feel like this is a bad play for you and your own brand, but it isn't. People come to you in order to project their own problems onto the villains that you put in front of them in your videos. That is literally the purpose of your content, your brand, whatever it is that you sell. And the more that you can actually amp this up to find the Jungian projections that your customers have issues with and to cast those projections onto a demographic that your customer hates, like, bro, that is when you begin to start swimming in cash. So, lesson, how can you find what your customer hates and who your customer hates and pair those two things together and become the hero in their eyes by putting two things together for them in a unique and entertaining way that they haven't thought of before?
It's pathetic. We should be focused on what matters, which is finding the people who are missing, not the racial demographic of a camp.
So finally, if you can end your videos in a way that causes the viewer to feel like both you and they are better than everyone else, it further cements the tribe that you're building for yourself, and it makes the enemy of your tribe look even more pathetic. So, final lesson here. How can you make your customer feel better than the people around them as a result of them having listened to you? That is the name of the game that we're playing here. So now, I've given you a glimpse into how to use propaganda to sell like crazy, but you still have no idea how to set up the content creation systems to do so at scale. If you want me to show you the exact workflows you need to pump out content like crazy so that you can sell like crazy, then click on the link in my bio and I will show you exactly that.